Hi everybody, Laura here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a couple of fun projects to share with you featuring some of the new Marketplace collection by the Greetery. This particular bundle here is my favorite of the whole release. It's the Marketplace number 1, number 2, and number 3. They're 3 different buildings and they're kind of European style and they have stolen my heart. I'm in love with them. So very in love. And then look at the detail though. Okay, the molding, the shape of the buildings, they're all different and unique. They fit perfectly on the arch box to make a little favor box, which I'll show you. And then here is the Marketplace Mini. Same idea, but they're 3 tall, skinny buildings. So 3 of these can fit on an A2 size card. One of the larger buildings and one of the skinny buildings. So one of these and then one of the skinny can fit on an A2. So however you want to mix and match. Or you can just make a larger card, make a 5x7. And then here's the Marketplace Holiday Festoons. And these are wreaths and bows and garland. There's even a Merry Christmas garland that you can hang. And this is the Marketplace Holiday Sentiments. These are kind of like building signs, like Mistletoe Market, Claws and Claws Toy Company. And then now the Arch Box Large. This one here will fit perfectly with one of the Marketplace buildings to make a building favor box. So I'm going to start by cutting the Arch Box. You need 1 sheet of cardstock and you're going to die cut it twice. I did some cream and I'm going to use this Marketplace number 2, I believe. It's the number 2 building. I mean, you can't go wrong with any one of them. And now I'm just going to start die cutting all the pieces. So I'm using a lot of Concord 9th. This is Eucalyptus. If I forget to mention a color, everything will be linked in my description box. But so there's an outer edge of the building and the inner, which gives, so you could die cut this like right into the box. And that'll put you windows right into your box. I'm just making a separate panel here and I'm going to pop it on the box. Now here's the shutters. The shutters just slay me. I'm doing bright red shutters on a eucalyptus building. And then what else? The little window trim. Is that what you call it? I'm doing that out of kind of a linen color. And then this top window out of poppy. That's poppy red, linen, and then cream. Some extra little doodads that are details on the building. So all this is getting die cut. And take this off camera. I'm using my Anna Griffin Impress, which is just a workhorse. I recently bought a new magnetic mat and 2 new plates. And you would not believe I put these things to work. Anywho, die cut them all and now I'm just adhering. So it's very easy. You just die cut everything and you adhere it. But it's really about the colors. And then now if you check out Betsy, the Greetery blog, prepare. You better be sitting down. Okay, because she made a trifold, which now I have to do it, like a trifold card. A Z card, is that what you call it? I don't know, but it's 3 buildings. So you open it up and it looks like a little row of buildings. And then she adds all the fun things like little faux snow and glitter. And it's just, you can really go as much or as little as you want. Mine's pretty clean. I tend to stay clean, but hey, you want to flick on some snow or glue on some glitter. All of it looks so fun for the holidays. So I'm using the Positively Perfect Craft Glue Mini. And you know what? You want to know something? This little mini glue, I'm almost empty. I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever used a glue completely gone. That's how much I've enjoyed this little mini glue. Because I've been using my Bearly Arts. And I still have my Bearly Arts sitting here on the table, but the poor thing's been neglected. Okay, moving on. Gluing all the little doodads and all the pieces. Again, you could just change up the colors to get a different look. I am going sort of holidays, but I think you could use this any time of the year. Change up the colors. Okay, so I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments or the like building signs. I did Mistletoe Market, and I did that on cream with VersaFine Onyx Black. Take the die, that comes in the die set, and then just glue that right on. Now you could also, if you want to use 3D foam squares, pop it up, give it a little dimension, and then I'm gonna zhuzh it. I'm using the Marketplace Holiday Festoons, and there's 3 different sizes of wreaths, and I chose the medium size. So depending on how big your windows are, you kind of like try to stay proportionate. And then I did some garland here out of, I think that's champagne metallic cardstock. And then the wreaths here, I believe those are, it's either avocado or grasshopper. Might be grasshopper. See, Concord 9th has so many colors. They have a grasshopper green and an avocado green, and they're very similar. And sometimes I just don't know what I'm using. Okay, so I'm gluing the wreaths on. I kind of decided to put them right there in the middle of the window. You can also do them on the top of the window, however you like to do it. Just feels like you're just decorating a house, and it's super fun. Now I did little bows that I'm going to add to the wreaths. I did those out of, I think that's grapefruit cardstock, just a light peachy, and then you have the champagne metallic garland, which I'll put up at the top. Now, the real star of the show here is the tools, the wand. I don't know how you do this without it, honestly. Putting a little bit of glue. Now, I'm not going to completely glue this garland down because I want to be able to kind of zhuzh it and lift it off a little bit to give it a little, a little bit of air. That's what I'm going for anyway. Okay, glue that to the top. And then I'll put together my arch box, which is also very easy to do. The hardest thing to think about is what you're going to put in the box. I have all these fun little favor boxes sitting on my table here from all the different companies, and I make them and I make them and I make them, and and they just accumulate. And then when somebody has something they need a gift for or a birthday, they always come in and they're like, "Can I use one of these?" And I'm like, "Yes, please do." Okay, so I'm putting together the arch box, and I'm using some score tape, folding that up. It comes together easy peasy, a lemon squeezy. And then kind of fold those 2 little flaps at the top. This is such a cute shaped favor box. I did some 3D foam squares to pop it up on the cream box. That way it gives just the slightest bit of shadow. Now I'm thinking it would be cool to cut the windows so that they'd be open. You could even put like a little faux votive in there to make it light up. How cute would that be? Now I'm zhuzhing the bows. I put some red and white striped ribbon. I tied it shut. I don't know where that, I think it's American Crafts. I'm not sure where I got that from, but it goes so well with this. Look at this Mistletoe Market favor box. I mean, this collection, I almost got the shakes. Okay, that was the level. Now here's I'm going to do another card because if you're like me, you're loving this. So I'm going to do the minis, the 3 tall minis, and I'm doing Eucalyptus, Poppy, and Stardust. These colors just tickle my fancy for the holidays. And then so one of the buildings is taller, and then I'm doing the 2 shorter ones on each side. Okay, so lining all this up. It's just a lot of die cutting up front. Probably the hardest part is picking the colors. But with all the examples on the blog, you've got a ton of inspiration. A ton. I love looking what all the design team members creates. They're just so talented, and everyone has a different style and a different take and a different like Dawn McFay, for example. She has such a style with color, uses a lot of pinks and bold, bright teals and greens, and I love it. And then Lori Willison, she has such a clean and simple style. She always pares it down, makes it simple, and I love that clean white space. And Wanda, so talented. I love her photography. Speaking of photography, Leah Lawson blows my mind with her photography. And let's just not even forget about Betsy Veldman with her photography. Forget about it. Now, I made a mistake with the video of this. Sometimes I press start when I should press stop, and I press stop when I should press start, but I made a mistake. I glued on all the little trim on the windows. And I changed my mind on this trim here. What I originally had cream, and then I decided to add that champagne. And then here for this poppy building, I believe I did, is that sorbet or grapefruit? And then I did the Festoons die set, adding the wreaths to some of the windows. And then over on the right, I've got the Stardust building. Here I'm going to do one of these, the Merry Christmas garland out of matte gold. It's so, here's the thing I love about a word garland, is that you don't have to stamp a sentiment or die. It's just like there, it's garland, so it's the decor and it's also the sentiment. It's like my jam. Okay, then I did a bunch of bows. These are also from that Festoons die set, several different sizes and styles of bows. And I love to glue a bow on a wreath or just glue a bow on a window. And so here we have, these look like they are nectar or a very light pink. I can't tell by looking at the video, but I'll make sure and link all the colors. It's all Concord 9th. Here we have on the Stardust building, I'm just going to glue these. They look like artichoke, kind of a dark olivey green bow. And then on the building over on the right, I have these, what is this color? Like wildberry or plumberry. It's a great pinky wine color. Okay, so there we have our buildings. Now I have a cream panel trimmed a little bit smaller than an A2 card base. So my card base is white. I've got a cream panel here, gluing it on. I've got the 3D foam dots for the buildings just to pop them up a little bit. And I like that because it gives a little bit of shadow behind the window. And it looks good that way. So I'm using my grid mat to kind of help find the center. And I put the middle one first, the poppy, since it's the tallest. And I just make sure that's centered with the grid mat. And then we have the Stardust on the right. And then the Eucalyptus building over on the left. And then last but not least, that matte gold Merry Christmas garland. Just a little glue on the left and right. That way it can kind of bow out and you can, you know, give it a little air if you wanna. But this card's pretty simple, but so cute. It reminds me of our time living in Germany. The buildings really are very much like this. Colorful, gorgeous, so pretty at the holidays. So there you have two projects, a favor box and a card, both featuring the Marketplace Suite by the Greetery. Go check it out and check out the Greetery blog. Incredible inspiration there. Here's the card with the matte gold Merry Christmas, and then here's the favor box with the large arch box die. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.